We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Live on NSL Talk. Good morning, good afternoon. And once again, I'm honored. I'm honored to welcome NMP, PCH, HayaBusa. Thanks for taking the time again, guys. Andy on the top left and David top bottom left. And then we have Mike on the bottom right. Thanks for being here. And it's a different situation than last time now, but let's begin with the basics. What's new in Belgium? How is the situation? Is Corona defeated?
Who wants to reply?
All of you. Sing it. Sing it in a quote.
For the moment, the situation is like drop zones are starting to open. So the drop zones started to open this weekend. Corona, yeah, I think we can admit that it's not really defeated, but it's kind of in control for the moment. And we're just taking our own measurements as we're jumping. We started our first training camp in Germany because the drop zones were not open yet. So we needed to divert a little bit to search for another drop zone. That's how we actually dealt with it.
Yeah, that is a big difference because, as you mentioned, you traveled to Germany actually to be able to train. How was that, Mike? How did you like Germany?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were sleeping in a home, I don't know, in the near of nothing, and
countryside, you mean?
Yeah, but it was cool. Everything was new, from teammates to the rig to the drop zones to plan to everything. So it was really challenging, and of course, after so many months without jumping, was really a bit like tension for me. But the guys did pretty good with me.
Yeah, you are the inside center for HayaBusa now. How does that feel?
You have to ask Dave for this.
You have to ask Dave. I go, okay, Dave, how does Mike feel about being the inside center for?
Well, I think we already mentioned it more than enough. I think the amount of pressure that came onto his shoulders, stepping into a new team, new teammates, stepping out of a left-hand door on a different position, with a team that is already knowing each other for a long time. I think it was not easy, and I kind of felt a little bit in the same like what Michele felt, because suddenly I also had like a new suit, a camera on top of my helmet, wings, and I got also like a little bit like in a situation where I found myself like almost like a newbie, because you have to put the cameras on. Is there a memory card inside? What are you filming? Is your cross actually center? And also I had a whole bunch of new experiencing. Not only sitting in the plane where I almost had nothing to deal with visualization, but then so much more under canopy, where suddenly I had to unhook my wings, or I was unable to grab my slider, or when I was in a twist, I could not untwist my canopy. So I also dealt with a lot of different stuff, and I can only imagine what Michele felt during his first jumps. But what I remember, that he was super tired every evening.
Yeah,
super tired.
Yeah, thank you again for giving us some of the early videos. You know, we saw David with this very first video where you lost a few points there on that one.
Well, man, I mean, the team must have seen me passing by a few times, even during free fall, where I got caught in a burble and I was not unable to recover that one. Later on, it became much better, but also I made like my video guy mistakes one-on-one, let's say. And I think now after 48 jumps, I feel much better. I think I have a ratio of hitting 75% of the exits. And
Andy, does he look like Luc van Britsem by now? The videos that he is giving you?
Yeah. No, he improves a lot. And the other 25%, he falls on top.
Oh,
no.
It will. I mean, I can only imagine if I were in that position where you are now, David. I would probably always look at Mike. You know.
Yeah,
and
I
think
mean,
of,
I'm not in that. I'm not in that situation yet. I'm more dealing with stay away from the burble. Make yourself being as steep as possible on top of the video, or on top of the team, as steep as possible. But then I'm still figuring out, because my cross is different when I'm a little bit lower looking, not steep, but actually more in a horizontal direction. Not flat, but like somewhere in between, and I'm still struggling with what I see is and what the video is showing, and so I'm not quite sure. I'm still dealing with that, so I have my internal problem that I'm processing, and I can admit I'm not like David French at the moment yet, not yet. Okay, I still have a long way to go to top him or even be the same like him.
So you and Mike, I'm sure, are discussing a lot of things. So, but that all comes then more or less by the end of the day in debriefings and over beer, or are you heading out straight home to the family when things are done, or how is?
I think for Mike it's so difficult. I mean, you have to imagine you have the world best coach standing next to you. You have four top skydivers standing around you. They all give their input, they all give their information, while we try to manage with, okay, what is important? How do we filter what he's actually receiving? Because too much is too much. So we kind of had a little bit of an agreement. If you want to say something, make sure that the coach is saying the same thing, or let it come from the coach, actually from Gary, because otherwise there is so much different input that eventually he needs to filter what is important. And we talked about it and said, like, it's better to work on 1 or 2 or maybe maximum 3 top priorities instead of trying to fix everything at once, because I can show you photos where he's sitting at a table like defeated, like not knowing where he started at.
Does it feel like that, Mike? Yeah, go ahead.
I can show you my filter. It's just one entire book of notes after 5 days.
It looks like one of those, you know, on golf tournaments, the guys, they have their books in their back pocket there, and I always pull it out and studying it. So you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, but the first 3 days I was really tired because there were so many lots of information that I really had to make some filter about it. And then after 3-4 days of jumping, just the guys were saying to me just to relax a bit more, and mentally I was just better after 3-4 days because were really too much information. But after just and
is it breaking up for you two guys? Okay.
Again, Mike.
The first 3 or 4 days were like really intensive because there were so many informations that I was really tired at the end of the day. But after 3 or 4 days that you put together all the information, then comes even better, and more you relax and more the movement can become more automatic. So after was good, but the first 3 or 4 days were really intense.
I mean, after 3-4 days, the camp was over basically, right? So just when you came to that point, you were only there for a long weekend or so. So now, let's say, sounds like once the camp was over, you had time to relax and digest and all that.
Yes. Now we have some 5 days of break for the next camp, and I'm just trying to reading again my notes. All my notes are inside, and to arrive more prepared with all the information I could receive in the past camp. So on the next one, I will be ready to put all together the things.
And now you're probably looking forward, now that it's all digested and the first 3-4 days are in the bag. Now you probably think, oh, well, the next camp will be fun.
But will be not fun.
So far it's torture, and now it's going to be fun. No, not yet. Is it ever gonna get fun? I see David and Andy are laughing, so it is fun, right? You're getting to that point.
It becomes a lot of fun. It becomes a lot of fun. It's
After 6 years, it's fun.
No, but even every camp will become easier, because the thing that Mike goes through for the moment is just digesting all the details. You know, there's a lot of information that he needs to process, because flying wise, he can actually pull it off. It's actually very astonishing what he can do with his capabilities, and it's very interesting to see how the progression goes from day 1 to day 2 towards the end of the camp. There's the progression rate is immense, but yeah, it's the brain is only capable of just in taking so much in, and that's why, for example, for Mike, the first days it was just so tiring. After a couple of days, it becomes easier because you don't need to think that much. And surely the next camp that we do, we don't need to add so many details like how we did on the first camp. So it will become way easier, and you have more time to enjoy. A lot more.
Immensive. I like that. I think you just created a new, very actually great word, immensive. You know, it's an immense load, and it's impressive how he's dealing with that. It's so I'm going to keep that, immensive.
And that's for the easiest slot, eh? And that's for the easiest slot of the 4.
Yeah.
Imagine the other 3 slots.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, from my point of view, I think the team, I mean, the 4 guys actually redid their calendar a little bit. We needed to jump. The first thing is we wanted to get Mike and myself also. We wanted to jump out of the plane, no matter what the weather was, no matter if it's only 1 jump or 10, or now we did 48. That was great. But we also relooked a little bit at the calendar. Now that the first exits are already like behind us, we need to make sure that he becomes a little bit more like aware of what style of jumping we actually want him to do. So the team will go to the wind tunnel, most likely with rigs, train a few days, I think 2, Andy, 2
days.
And then we'll start an outdoor training camp in Skydive Center Spa for I think almost 10 days. And we will definitely see even more progression after the tunnel camp. So now that he knows that, okay, it's doable, it's not rocket science, of course, but now he just needs repetition, jumping out of a plane, doing all the block techniques over and over and over again, especially with the rig, because without the rig in the wind tunnel is easier, as he can say. I mean, to stop your momentum, to go over somebody, to stop after when you went over somebody, that's much more harder than for example, having nothing on your back, just going to the wind tunnel. So we just need to now just repetition for everybody.
Dave, you were the team captain so far, right, in the past? And are you handing over the reins now to your brother, or what's?
Of course. I mean, we never had like a solid team captain. It was more like let's say, suddenly you become the face of the team. It's not that you're the team captain, because everybody has their jobs to do. Suddenly you're the team face, let's say. And I'm super willing to let Andy be the next phase of the team, for sure. But it's not like we have one dedicated team captain that does all. Everybody has his job, and for me it felt more natural, let's say, to answer or to do all those things. But Andy is a perfect follow-up, for sure.
Yeah, usually people do it the other way around. I mean, you have nothing to do anymore. You're just sitting there, you know, doing the video and nothing else to do. So
it would be great for Mike, since he has nothing else to do as an Insight Center. But
yeah, yeah, Mike and Andy, you should tell me, you know, he has all the load, all the stuff that we don't want to deal with. Give it to David.
No. In fact, I'm now a cameraman. I have to deal with nothing anymore, just to make sure battery is full, memory card inserted, helmet on, and are you filming the correct team?
Have you lost it and missed the jump yet? Was it like situation where the camera didn't work?
But I made a checklist for myself, and I read it once in a while to make sure that I have everything with me. So it goes from the moment that I come into the drop zone till the evening when I come back to my hotel room. So I made a checklist of all the things that I'm that I'm fully aware of.
So that didn't answer my question. Did you lose the video? I know you lost one exit. Did you lose the whole video? I mean, I know what you're talking about because I do video here and there. So all of a sudden you look at the video and you have nothing.
I mean, the biggest secret of a good cameraman is he has 2 videos.
Ah, okay. Sure, yeah, of course.
But it still can go wrong.
Yeah.
It has yet.
I mean, you know what? The biggest problem is I have a remote control, yeah. And when I put it on when the pilot says green. So, but at green the door is still closed. I mean, for the team. So I'm sitting at the door. I'm waiting till the green light goes on. But for the moment that the green light goes on, I have to push the button and open the doors. I sometimes do not see if it's really recording, and I think I need to redo that sequence a little bit, because if I for some reason press record and it's not recording, opening the door, go outside, then before you know you're standing on the ground and sorry boys, there is no video.
So has he said
when you're hanging, you can still check the
has he said yet once, sorry guys, I didn't have a video?
No,
Okay,
no,
forget about it.
Not yet.
Good. What about the upcoming plans? I mean, now Belgium is opening, which means you can train on home turf, right? I mean, Spa is basically your home place. I remember your first team name was actually Spa HayaBusa.
Yeah.
So that must be around the corner. And so you have that is in the bag. But as of events, is anything already scheduled happening? Or we do know that the USBA nationals are happening. I mean, that seems to be pretty clear by now that they will go ahead with that. That's, you know, they're committed. Do you still have that on your list?
Yeah, we have our training camp first in Spa. That's in July. Then we have.
I don't hear Andy anymore. Am I in the same boat, or is do you all hear Andy, David, Mike?
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, then it's recording and I just don't hear it. I pretend to listen then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. There was a little interruption, a little technical glitch, and I was asking Andy the question about the schedule for this year. Andy, if you can tell us again quickly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we replanned the whole schedule, and we actually made we start like now in July in Spa, which is very close by home, and it's easy if things go sideways. And we actually have that same plan for kind of the whole season. So we have July in Spa, then we still try to go to Czech Republic, to Prostějov, because we want to have the opportunity to do at least one camp this year out of the let, because that's going to be
for training to Prostějov. Okay.
Yeah, so that we have still the same plane for tonight, because it's very important for us, like not only for Mike but also for the entire team to actually get used to the plane that we used many years before. And then for September and October, we're gonna try to. We had the idea to still stay quite close at home, so it can be Spa or Algarve. And then for November, we have the idea to come to Z Hills for the U.S. Nationals, but that still is to be confirmed with how the situation evolves in the States with Corona, because that's really also one priority for us to participate, because we want to have the competition experience for all of us. Yeah.
Right. Back to Mike, you have been now in two very good teams. Obviously, first the Italian team that was very talented, and now with HayaBusa Inside Center. What is the difference? I mean, being in a world-class team already, then going to another team which is even better. What's the difference? How can you even explain that? What the differences are?
Yes, the first one is that in the first team I was playing my jumps.
Oh.
So that's a really important difference. yeah, but I think that there are two different things, because the first team was not professional team, so the way to train was just different. This skydiving was just a hobby, let's say. So we were just weekend jumpers, and we met each other. We were jumping, but with HayaBusa, it's really a job. So we know from now to 1 year, when we will do the jumps, how many jumps we will do, and other things. And with Amnesia was different, and even the way of training is different, because with Amnesia we were growing together, and growing together is, let's say, different than step in a team that already has a background behind. So coming into HayaBusa, it's just trying to listen them, try to do my best, and of course the team grows together, but as you can imagine, it's really a different story. And yeah.
Not a lot of discussions about things. It's just aye, sir, and then you do what.
No. Even with HayaBusa we discuss, but of course they have more experience, and I try to do my best to listen to them and trying to do what they say. But I like this team a lot, because of course they also ask to me if I have any ideas, or if I can give something to the team. So I think that's the best way to grow together and faster.
And I'm sure, Andy, I'm sure you're seeing differences too, because you know what you just said. Everybody, it's a little bit different, and you know, he's not flying exactly the same way as David does. You're seeing him. You see him all the time, right? You're his center partner there.
Yeah. Mike is now my centerpiece, and it's a difference, and inexperience in body shapes and flying styles. But yeah, I think the main thing what we have is we have a very good structure how we attack things, and also when we have a new member, we fully integrate him from the beginning as one of our own. So as we started training with Mike, of course he's listening a lot. He has to take all the information in, because we kind of know what we're doing. But at the same time, we still also need to learn to fly with Mike. It's not only Mike needs to adapt to us. So in that sense, yeah, he flies different. I think it's the majority even for Bob, because he needs to spin pieces with him. But it's not per se that it's kind of in it's just a fun project, because it's a different person. It's a different. He also brings different things to the team, you know, and it's very exciting actually, even for us to start a new chapter. And his flying skill, he already proved it before he actually came into HayaBusa, that he's capable of flying very well. The only thing is that he has a lot of experience in the wind tunnel, and that we need to try to transfer actually to outdoor. So the main part what we focus a lot on with him is exits and kind of also fall rate, because you need to learn to fly more with the rig instead of just flying only with your body and your body position. So
Interesting. By the way, where is your peace partner, Mike? Where's Bob? See,
I think he's running in, I don't know where, in some mountains.
Training for marathon again, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And the style in itself, I mean, you know, we talked a lot about the logistics, but the style, the flying style and all that, that's similar to the Amnesia style. Weren't you coaching them actually, Amnesia? Were you working on it?
If I can step into that conversation, yeah. I think the biggest reason what Mike now feels is Amnesia was sometimes fast and wild, and HayaBusa can never be wild. It needs to be fast, but it will always be in control, no matter what you do. And And sometimes on the video, other teams might look to HayaBusa and think like, wow, that's amazing, the speed of execution, but it will never be out of control. And if you would like to copy us, sometimes it feels like you have to go out of control to match the same speed, and that's not. And that's one of the things you need to, as a new member of HayaBusa, actually need to learn, is it can never be out of control. And that's also one of the things why we start slow. If you ask Mike, it's one of the things that Gary will always say, like, it will not happen by this. We first want to see, we first want to make sure that you see everything before we eventually like add on the throttle. And it's not even necessary to add on the throttle yet, because he hasn't seen anything yet with it.
Yeah. Well, the next training camp seems to be a more intensive one. First the indoor, and then 10 days. So I guess then we should get back and then see the progress, or talk about the progress after that again, a few videos. Let's finish this off before we'll be thrown out here again with my limited time. I don't know how much you have followed that, but I have asked, I've been on a mission with a specific question, which is why should teams and competitors go to meets? That I asked that question at the US Nationals, all the most experienced and world-class competitors, and I would like to ask the same question to you to see if we have some input that I haven't heard yet. Because you have competed a lot, obviously, and you're planning to compete, and the benefits of going to a competition. And I would like to share this with people so they see why it is important to go to competitions. So let's start top left, David. Why should?
I think it's mainly because when you train hard, you wanna see some progression, because otherwise you're just training for, not that it's not fun, but it's just for the fun of it. And I think in HayaBusa, in the last almost, let's say, 18 years, I think we did over 110 different competitions. And it's just, when you train hard, when you compete against others, you can see immediate results. You can see immediately where you are, and you can see progression. And besides the way that it's super fun to meet other people as well. That's my point of view.
All right, very, very good. Thanks, David. Andy Growitz. Why should
what Dave said is actually the most important thing. What I want to add is like, you want to actually know your opponents as well, because you can be the best team, but if you never jumped against your opponents, you don't know how you would react to that. So if you can go to a competition and you've never seen them before, you feel really nervous. But the more you encounter your opponents, kind of easier that it gets. It's not that you're going to be relaxed, and when you start your first round of the biggest competition that is held in the season, but it actually puts you where you know where you're going to be, so you know what to expect. That's the most important thing. So you train as hard as you can, first to measure where you're gonna be, and at the same time is also to control your nerves. You know what to expect, and you know how you will react, and you also can see how other people react. And it's also of creating a routine, because if you're only doing training camps, you're only doing that same routine. But doing a competition, it's a completely different routine. So you need to know what's going on. You need to know where the draw has been held, and it can be in different locations. Where you need to sort of find out where is the creeper pad and what the timings will be for the next round, which team you're going to be after or before. It's so many different things that you actually need to prepare only on a meet. So that's why for HayaBusa, competitions are so important. It's not only for yourself, it's also to know the whole situation and also know who your opponents are.
Good points. Mike.
Thank you.
can you add something for us?
Yes. I think that if you have a goal that can be the national or it can be the world meet, for example, you have to do lots of meet before, because you cannot step in a big event that maybe can be your dream, like the world meet, like doing the first meet, the world meet. So before that, you need to do many meets, because yeah, the experience is the most important lesson of the life. So you can do all the training you want, all the preparation you want, but experience is the most important thing to arrive prepared in the biggest event of your life. So
Great.
that's the important thing.
I think another, if I can still say something.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I think after a competition, you also see that your biggest opponents can also be your best friends. I think once the competition is done and you all have a beer or have a barbecue and you talk with each other, before you know, like, hey, these are actually cool guys. Instead of actually thinking about that we want to beat them, you will still want to beat them, but at least you can still like share thoughts, and you're all in the same boat trying to compete against each other. So before you know, you have a lot of similarities that you didn't know before.
Mm-hmm. Directly related, actually, now to this topic was a question that I didn't define it, but it came automatically. So let's have a short conversation quickly about round one, which seems to be a special round for every, for most of the competitors, even though, some say it shouldn't be, but it is for most. So what do you have to say about round one, David? We just heard, no, let's start with David again. Yeah, on the top.
Okay, I think round one is very nervous, but if you're bad, you can have 3 times round one. You can have a round one in the beginning of the meet where you worked for the last 2 years, let's say. And it's life depending almost. I mean, especially for us, because it's our job, so we need to make sure that we get the results. So for us, it's round one is always very special. But you can also have another feeling of round one, like for example, when you know that there is a full random jump, like we had in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
That is also the feeling of a round, because you know that it's gonna be it's all or nothing. You can win that round and you're gonna be the hero, or you fumble, you just crumble as a team, and before you know, you're actually the biggest loser. So I think that's already another feeling round one again. It gives you the same nerves, although it's maybe round 6. And I think another one is maybe when you are equal or tied going into the last round. Going into wanting to make sure that you want to win that meet, that's also giving the same feeling. So before you know, you already have like 3 round ones in one competition.
Interesting. Andy,
yeah.
are you giving round one? So does that mean you're really giving round one, or another very important round, special attention, more attention than round 2 or any other round?
I don't think, but for sure you always give a little bit more attention to round one, because you have the butterfly, the jitters, and that's something that everybody needs to cope with. It's not only you as an individual or your team. Everybody has to do the same feeling. But yeah, I think the first round is just because you step into the unknown. Once you've passed round one, still stuff can happen in a whole meet over the 10 rounds, but you actually don't know what's going to happen after round one. So that's the biggest fear factor, actually. So before there's any results, you're actually just nervous to like show whatever you've been training for so long, and at the same time you don't want to crack under pressure. You don't want to fail. That's the biggest mistake. And round one actually is where everybody has that feeling where everybody will see if you will fail or you will gain. That's the biggest fear factor. And in fact, it's like Dave says, it's not really relevant, because a meet has actually been jumped over 10 rounds. So you can go over a whole roller coaster going to round 10. So that round one is just, I think for me, it's something more personal. You need to just trust in the team, in the training that you've done, and especially in yourself to trust that you will be fine. That's the only thing. That's actually more of advice to anybody going to round one in their lives.
The
That's,
butterflies
it's
and
just something more personal. Yeah, yeah,
the
and also
butterflies and the jitters, and that coming from a 3-time world champion. But I can tell you, everybody says the same thing. World champion or not, 10-time world champion or not, they all talk about the butterflies and the jitters.
And it will always happen. It doesn't matter how many meets you've won. Every meet is the same. And the more, that's why that competitions are so important for us, because you will encounter them again. So the more that you do it, the better you can control them. And yeah.
Mike, butterflies and jitters in your stomach too?
Yes, I was thinking if the first round could be a full random jump.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put pressure on you.
No, but of course, how Andy said, you can see a meet after 10 rounds. So the first round is just a small step.
Yeah.
Well, we just want something that I wanted to add, like, and what we have with HayaBusa that is very cool in a way is we train a lot and we spend a lot of time with each other, and we know each other kind of inside and out. And what the cool part is about round one is everybody's nervous, but at the same time you can look and see into each other's eyes, and you can feel that confidence flowing from one person to the other. So you're actually, it's individual, but at the same time you're in the same boat with your team, and they can actually just give you that same trust, and that's something really, really unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I've felt this also. Even that is more so in an 8-way team. You feel like you're only one out of 8. 1 out of 4 is already pretty important. But if you have 8 people, surrounding you and supporting you, then there seems to be less pressure compared to 4 people. Interesting point too, Andy. Thanks.
I think also what is unique on round number 1 is once you have the draw, round 1 is is almost the only round where you put so much focus into going to sleep, visualize it over and over. It takes you almost like 12 hours before you actually do that round. Round 2 is not even the same. Round 3 is not even the same. And most of the time, every start of the day, that round actually kind of is similar like round number 1, just because you have the possibility of overthinking it over and over and over.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we definitely don't do this. Actually, it's only the first jump on a day. Even on the second day or third day, the first jump is somehow similar to round 1, but not really, because you have so much more time for round 1. Wow. Well, it's great, guys. Thank you so much for all this. Yeah. I am collecting. Well, there's always something new. It's amazing.
Maybe next time you can announce like a meeting like this, whether it's with HayaBusa or Airspeed. Why not do a YouTube live event so that everybody can just follow, like file in questions, and we do an hour or 2 hours if people want it. If there is nobody, then it's a short one. If there is a lot of people wanting to see it, hey, why not? It's fun. Maybe they learn it. Maybe they learn something, and we're always happy to share our thoughts with you and the audience. So,
well, I'll take a look at that and see if we can make that happen. I think it's a good idea. Obviously, the more we can spread and share it with others, the better it is for all of us.
And we add the other members too.
Yep, everybody. So Bob has to stop running for one day, possibly then. Hi, Bob. All right, well, guys, thank you very much again for taking the time. Highly appreciate it. And the camp you're talking about is in July. So end of July will be a good time probably to catch up again and see how things move on. If I'm,
you can call any day, Kurt, if you like. You can call
at any time.
15th of July. If the team is together, you can call whatever you like.
Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate that even more. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of the weekend. and we'll talk soon again. Have fun with everything. Mike, have fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Relax. Work is over soon.
Thank you, Kurt.
Bye.
Bye.